Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP. And this week was a pretty good week. I started it kind of badly with having a tick on my back from lying in the grass last weekend, which I pulled out. So we'll see if I get some kind of disease from this. Um, I'm not feeling sick yet, so I hope that I'm going to be okay. I also had a discussion with the other resident at my workplace and my boss, where I pretty much stayed quiet because the other resident, it was her time to talk. I already talked to my boss one on one. And it's kind of like I want to make sure that things are good for her because she's new, and I wish that the introduction for new residents was better. Like that we got actually like introduction and certain things, which at the moment we don't have. I have a good stability at my work right now, for myself at least. Um, but it feels like my boss does not really listen to me. So, like he says that he listens, but he actually does not understand what I'm saying. Uh, my boss is an ENTJ, my supervisor is an ISFJ. So that is like completely different people. It's like the equivalent of an INFP with an ESTP, like pretty opposite worlds that these two inhabit. Um, and I mean, I like my boss and my supervisor, but I can see how they are at odds, you know. Even though they're both judging types, they are pretty much, that's pretty much the only thing that they have in common. I I think that my supervisor really likes having her own little private life and not really getting involved into the life of my workplace. For me, because I don't have much of a social network outside of my workplace, like my workplace is kind of my family, which, you know, is problematic, but that's kind of how it is because I'm pretty alone. And having all these people that I see every day kind of brings this sense of community that I have. Um, so I have a pretty different approach in like how much I engage myself into the different activities that my workplace does. The activity that we did this week was the race that was 3.8 kilometers, which is not a lot, but considering that I never run, was a lot. I basically died, but I'm here, so I'm not dead. I did that in, I got a better time than last year at least. But you know, I'm around a half hour or something. So I was mostly walking, but some of it was running and or like jogging. The thing is, it was a lot of uh, like there's asphalt, and then there was like in the forest, and in the forest I was kind of scared of tripping on a root or something, or squelching into the mud or something like that. And sometimes like you weren't exactly sure where your foot would land, and that was a little bit scary, um, because like I'm not used to running in the forest. I'm not used to running at all, but usually when I run, I try to run on approximately asphalt, or at least like a um, kind of paved road or something, um, or you know, a path through the forest that doesn't have a lot of roots or something like that. But this was pretty chaotic. We got a great salad at the end, and it was fun. But I felt like pretty tired about everyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone really at the end. I just wanted to go home and sleep, which I didn't really manage to do because sleep wouldn't come, because I was so worked up, I guess, from the. I tried to like calm down and all that. Anyway, what happened to me on Monday morning is that the nurse who has asthma, the asthma nurse, She also has asthma, but she's the asthma nurse who takes care of people with asthma, who I suspected was autistic. She asked me about last week, because last week I kind of broke out crying in the uh, meeting that we have at my workplace. And she was the first one to cover me. And she said, you should maybe look into autism. And I was like, yeah. And she said she got her autism diagnosis in January. So she is autistic, and she thinks that I might be autistic without even knowing that I was going through this whole process in the first place. So, the plot thickens. It seems like, okay, so now this therapist who works with ADHD and autistic kids seems to think that I have autism and ADHD. And now this autistic person at my workplace seems to think that I might be autistic. And we talked a little bit about how we need clarity, and my boss is not giving us clarity. He likes to switch the subject or kind of manipulate his way through conversations. And that is not clear communication for me, And sometimes I want to convey something if I I want to convey that, okay, you're not listening to me, Please value me for the person that I am. And that does not translate well into ENTJ, And so he's like trying to find the most effective way to show that, to appease everyone, basically. The most effective way to fix the problem, rather than like actually taking the time to listen. He'll just go and do 10,000 things. So he called us to this meeting with my resident colleague when really I'd already had a meeting with him. It shouldn't need 2 meetings if he had actually tried to sit down and understand what I was saying from the get-go. So I think that it's kind of a TE dominant thing, that by trying to be too effective, you're actually being less effective, because you're neglecting the FI and the other things that go into the problem. Sometimes the problem cannot just be fixed through a lot of TE, Sometimes it needs some more subtlety, some more depth, some more actually taking other people's feelings into account and everybody's individuality into account. My supervisor actually told me that she found that she had worked there for many years, like 10 years or something. And my boss has been the boss for only a few years, maybe like 6 years or something. And she feels like he's never tried to get to know her. Which, maybe a boss doesn't need to know his co-workers, but she, as an ISFJ, she kind of feels that it's inappropriate that my boss, as an ENTJ, he likes to brag about stuff. So, he likes to talk about his own things, which is kind of like his FI blind spot kind of thing. So he goes and he'll talk about golf and his trips, which is kind of like blind to what everybody else is thinking. Like, nobody really cares about your golf, when was the last time you gave us a vacation, but like, since he's our boss, we have to sit and listen to him. And it's like, sometimes you just have to accept that other people don't have the same things in common as you. But he's emotionally not mature enough to handle these things. He went through a divorce, and his son got ADHD. There's quite a lot, but he has a hard time dealing with this, which I understand. They are big things. Um, but I think that his feelings get the best of him, and then he gets really defensive about certain things instead of acting professional around us. So if you hit a nerve, which it's very easy to hit a nerve, then it's like he gets really defensive, and it's like, whoa, I didn't think that you'd take it personally. Um, so there are some bad things about being an ENTJ boss. You'd think that ENTJs would be the best archetype as a boss, but being a boss also, you do need to show some FI, or at least FE, um, but also FI in order to drive a company or workplace in the right direction. You need to follow what the strengths of the company is, like follow this kind of authentic vision. And sure, he has a vision, but it's not about the people in it. For me, what draws me to my workplace is this kind of family feel, this feeling that, of course, I cannot explain to my boss, but this feeling of like, okay, this place, whatever happens, we'll try to find a way to go forward. And the way it does that is through the stability of the people who work there. And even though I am extremely unstable as a person in my mental health, I think I do know where my values lie, and um, I know what is important to me. I know what's the values of that I want in a workplace. I want people to be listened to. I want this democracy at my workplace. I want um, this code of ethics. That's why I'm not working in private. I'm working in public healthcare, even though I could earn a lot more in private, because I want to be able to give the healthcare to whoever passes through the door. At the same time, I also want to have, a good life for myself with balance, and I don't want to be consumed by my patients. I am treating this as a job and not like as my, the only thing I live for, you know. I want there to be transparency, authenticity. I want there to be an ethical code. Sure, I want some innovation, but that's not kind of what I need in my workplace. I can find innovation and creativity in my own time, but that's not really what I'm looking for in my job as a doctor. Because I don't want to adventure the lives of my patients. So if we're going to be creative and innovative, we need to do it in a controlled manner. For example, in our discussions, or in certain new ways that we can do things, but not like in a way that we experiment on our patients. So even though I am all for novelty and innovation, I think that there's a time and place for that. And at my workplace, it is not really built for that. And I'm okay with that, because that's not what I value in this job. What I value in this job is having continuity with my patients, being able to see my patients grow or, go through things in life and being a part of their journey. So these are things that I think are very important, that we shouldn't like forget about just because there is a more effective solution. So yeah, this was a long rant about basically TE dominant people. There are other TE dominant people that I'm thinking about that are pretty similar, let's just say. I'm thinking of ESTJs. There's an ESTJ doctor at my job who's pretty similar in that. But yeah, I don't want to like be mean to anybody on the internet. I'm just saying that we have pretty different ideas of what our workplace should be like. And now my question to myself is, how am I going to navigate this now that I know that I'm autistic and ADHD? How far can you accommodate, and is it worth talking to my boss about it? Will he be able to understand? Maybe not. But I think that at a certain point, I will need to take a break from this job and like actually think about where I want to be going. I went to finish my residency program at my workplace. But you know, that's like 3 more years or something, 4 more years. But I think that I'll need to have some time off in that time. Time off above the regular vacation days. I think that I need to have some time to do something completely different, like maybe study something completely different. You know, kind of get off track. I've always been on track, you know, this whole time. And I've had times where I've had pauses, but like, you know, basically just bed rotting because I was mentally ill. But I want to do something different with time that is dedicated to that doing something different thing. And I don't know when and how we should do that. But at a certain point, I want to do that. I want to be able to just, because I've noticed now, okay, so I'm taking medication basically because I'm working. If I wasn't working, I would be feeling much better. And unfortunately, you know, I need to work, and I need to get the money and such, but I do feel much better without needing to work. And a lot of people will be like, yeah, but you know, what will you do with your days if you don't need to work? To be honest, I would be happy just like, you know, doing nothing. But that's not how life works, unfortunately. But there are people who just like, they don't know what to do with their lives if they aren't working. And for me, it's like, sure, it would be difficult for me because the money problem. But otherwise, I think that I'd figure out things, you know. And I want to just get away. Sorry, I need to do some pasta. So that was a tangent, but I don't know how I'm going to find my happiness. I am overthinking this a lot, thinking about things a lot. And it's not good to overthink things, but it's like at the moment I'm in that sort of phase where life is just going too fast and I can't keep up. That maybe it's just time to fall off, at least for a little while. It doesn't need to be this year, but maybe at a certain point. Maybe before I get all settled down in a certain place. If I ever settle down, who knows. I also told the male nurse that I talked about. I feel dumb calling him a male nurse, but there aren't that many male nurses, so it's like, it's kind of an adjective at this point. But I told him about the autism ADHD thing. He was really nice about it. We kind of ran together during the race. I had my LGBT, my pride shirt that had the name of the region that I work for on it. So that people really like my shirt. So I count that as a win. I've been trying to read books, and at the moment, unfortunately, I've been reading just shitty books. This book is not good. Do not read this. Ljusrevolutionen by Fredrik Paulun. It's a Swedish book, so you probably won't be reading it. It's called the Light Revolution, and basically this guy believes that you can fix anything with an infrared lamp. You can fix cancer, you can fix your life expectancy, you can heal different diseases and such. There are certain diseases that are better, like skin conditions that get better with like blue light and such, like psoriasis and such. But otherwise, this is pretty much woo-woo, bullshit. Okay. So yeah, I really tried to get into it. But no, this book belongs in the trash, to be honest. He also implied, well, he implies a lot of shit. He has a lot of opinions about light when it's actually not really facts. So yeah, I do not recommend. I'm going to go back to the other nonfiction books that I have in my to be read pile. And yeah. And this little hedgehog says pick. It goes peek, pick, pick. And that's all. Yeah, bye.